Tying up a great little warm water pattern today. This is called the Wilson's Bass Bully. If you have been fishing in warm water circles that much, there's a couple, Terry and Roxanne Wilson, that are very, very well known for the books and things that they've done contributing to warm water fly fishing, panfish, crappie, bass, things like that. They've come up with a number of different patterns. This is one of them. This Terry Wilson developed the Bass Bully, and it has become kind of a staple in a lot of warm water circles. It's a great little streamer for bouncing along the bottom in more natural colors like an olive or brown. I think it's a great little Sculpin imitation. That's the Wilson's Bass Bully. I'll get started tying. So I'm going to start the Bass Bully with my hook and the vise. This is a Gamakatzu B10S. I think it's a size 8. No, size 6. B10S. You could use a Tiemco 8089 and a size 10 if you want. The Tiemco has a little bit longer hook shank, I think, than the B10S. I'm going to debarb the hook. For thread, I'm using a UTC Ultra Thread 140 Denier and a Chartreuse. Generally, whatever you're going to tie this in terms of color scheme, you're going to stick with the thread the same color, the tail the same color, and the head the same color. Attach my thread about an eye length behind the eye of the hook. I'm going to tie in the dumbbell eyes. These are a red painted dumbbell eyes, lead dumbbell eyes in a size medium. I'm going to attach these so I have about an eye length in front of them. I'm not right up on the eye of the hook. I want to get a few wraps of some Sculpin wool right in there when we make the head of the fly. Securing those in, I'm going to run my thread all the way down to the end of the shank. I'm going to put some head cement on these thread wraps. This will help. The idea is to help to keep it from rotating around. Now, it's not 100% guaranteed because you do have, a round cylinder this way and a round cylinder that way. You're trying to lash them down together, but at least that will help. Now, the tail on the Bass Bully is just a rabbit zonker. I've got some Chartreuse rabbit zonker. I'm going to tie this in with this particular hook because the shank is a little short. I'm going to tie this in. I want the hide side to be on top. That is, the leather hide side is going to be on top. And I'm going to go down the bend of the hook just a little bit. Tying all that in and securing it pretty much between the barb of the hook and the point of the hook. And because of the dumbbell eyes, this will ride hook point up like this. So that's why we tie the zonker strip in with the hide side down, because then this will all flow as the tail when it's upright. So the body consists of, the rear portion is going to be some Estaz. There's going to be a red section right here that's gills, some rubber legs tied in, and then the head of this. I'm using this is just your standard Chartreuse pearl Estaz. I'm going to tie this in, securing that and wrapping down all the way back to the tail. I'm going to come forward to just in front of the point of the hook. Now this hide, by the way, I should have mentioned this. I want the hide itself to be about the same length as the shank of the hook. So I'm going to cut just a little bit of that off. Now notice I'm not cutting right through like this because I would cut the hair as well. I'm using the edge of my scissors, that sharp edge, to just cut the hide. Then I don't cut all that hair and I have the rabbit hair tapering off behind. I'm going to wrap in this Chartreuse Estaz. I think this would, if you use this in like a brown or even a olive color, I think it'd be a great little kind of Sculpin imitation. Maybe black for a little Mad Tom or something. So I'm going to secure that Estaz in. Trim away the excess. A lot of warm water circles, tyers like to have some red in their flies. They put some red gill flashes in there or something like that to attract the fish. So we're going to do the same thing with just a little bit of red Estaz. Don't worry if it looks a little bit messy under there. We're going to be covering all that up in just a minute. I still want to end up what space you have between the chartreuse portion of the body and the eyes, about halfway. That's where we're going to tie in some legs, and then we're going to be putting some Sculpin wool in for a head. So I'm just going to get a couple of wraps. Now, I think the original recipe called for just red chenille, medium chenille, a couple wraps in here. It just gives it a little bit of red. I have seen other people use red dubbing for this instead. If that's what you have, go for it. Again, if it's looking just a little bit messy, don't worry about it. A lot of your warm water flies or warm water species, they're not elegant. They're not your elegant little trout flies and everything. They're meat and potatoes kind of flies. Now I'm going to tie in some rubber legs on both sides. You could use silly legs if you want to. I prefer to use round rubber legs. I think they're more durable. I have some, these are a lime green. If you've got some chartreuse, you could certainly use those. Something that's going to match up with the body. I got 4 of them here that I haven't separated, and I'm just going to tie 4 on one side and 4 on the other. Take your time. Kind of a messy operation right here. But tie those in. Secure those down right behind, I should say in front of the red Estaz. Try to have those right on the side a little bit, maybe even angled what's going to end up being upward right here. Put a little bit of wax on my thread so it doesn't slide around on those legs and the Estaz. Then I'm going to tie in my second set. And I'm just going to leave those long right now, as well as together. I'll cut those to length and then separate them in just a moment. Cleaning this whole area up, we'll get our head in here. The head is just some Sculpin wool, and I think Terry Wilson, when he first did this, just put some Sculpin wool right up on top. If you don't know what Sculpin wool, it's just a lamb's wool that's been dyed. And I think what he did was to kind of get it in a long clump and put it right on top here, tie it in, and another one on the bottom, brush it out and trim it. You can do that if you want to. I'm going to actually use a dubbing loop, so you don't have to do it this way. Bringing my thread right in front of the dumbbell eyes. I'll put some wax on the thread here. This helps keep the material from sliding out. What I've done is I've flattened out some Sculpin wool and I've cut them into not strips, but just short, maybe half an inch lengths. That way I can insert all of this into the dubbing loop and I can position it, spread it out a little bit, position it in here. You don't want it too thick, so you need to kind of spread it out just a little bit. If it's too thick, when you spin it, it won't spin. I'll go ahead and spin my dubbing loop tool. Spin that up. And then I'm just going to run my fingers over it to kind of tease some of that out. You could use a dubbing brush if you want. It's up to you. Then I'm going to start to apply it. I want to get a wrap in the back here. Another wrap back here. And then I'm going to come underneath around the other side of the eye there. I'm going to come back around on this side, across the top, and in front. Then I'm going to take a couple of turns in front. Securing that in. I can now trim away the dubbing loop. Don't be too concerned if it looks like it's a big mess. We're going to tease that out and trim it here. I'm going to clean this up around the eye and put in a few wraps, make a nose. I like to use my half hitch tool at this point because getting a whip finish in there is going to be hard not grabbing some of those fibers. This allows me to put some half hitches on here and slide them right back behind the eye. You can even make a double half hitch if you want. Wrap that around a couple of times and just slide that down. Trim away the thread and put some head cement in here. Now you get to release your inner Michelangelo. We take our dubbing brush tool and I'm going to rake this out from back to front. And what I'm trying to do mostly is just tease the fibers out. I just want to tease them all out into a big mess that I can then shape and trim. Starting out wide, I'm just going to start trimming some of this off. And all you really want to do is just eventually get down to a roundish kind of baitfish head on this. Sides are usually pretty easy because you don't get a whole lot of that Sculpin wool sticking out around those eyes. It tends to stick up and down. If you haven't done anything like this before, it's like trimming deer hair or something. Just remember, less is more. Just start trimming by just a little bit and then slowly work it down to where you want it to be. At the same time, remember, at some point you just have to say enough's enough. If you keep cutting at it, then all of a sudden you'll find yourself in a position where you cut off more than you wanted. So at some point you just say, that's it. And I think that's a good spot right there. Rubber legs, I like to trim these all the way back about the length of the hide, maybe a little bit longer. And then once those are trimmed, you can split the ends up here, separate all of those legs. Then I'm going to put just a little more head cement up here, soak down in there just a little bit. This is going to be a bottom bouncing fly. If you're in a stream and in any fast current, then I'm certain you could swing it. But, this is, like I said, this would be a great little Sculpin kind of imitation with those legs sticking out. There you go. That is Terry Wilson's Bass Bully. Thanks for watching today. Thank you for joining me at the Vise today. I hope you learned a new pattern, at least a tip or trick here and there. If you'd like to help Dress Irons, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things for the video. You can also head out to dressedirons.com where you can buy flies, tools, stickers, and merch, or you can join a growing community over on Locals at the Dressed Irons Fly Tying Guild. You can also donate to Dressed Irons if you want through the link at the bottom of the description. I thank everybody for their ongoing support, as it really does help the creation of these videos. And what's important is to remember, only fly tying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.